approval of our minutes for the regular meeting held on June 9th, 2025.
I will make a motion to approve our minutes from the meeting on June 9th, 2025.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for acceptance of the meeting minutes for June 9th, 2025. If there are no questions, we'll move on and accept them as presented. We have an approval of our bills for June 6th, 2025 through June 19th in the amount of $63,802.06.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills from June 6, 2025 through June 19, 2025 in the amount of $63,802.06.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of our bills.
Question, we have attorney's fees for $2,450. What are those for?
That would be for litigation.
And what's the, who's the participants in that case?
That would be litigation on the property west of the town hall,
So the Village versus Selene?
if you want to call it that.
And what's the total for that?
Let's see, about now it should be about 32,450, approximately.
Thank you.
And that's a countersuit, correct?
Yes. There's no other questions, we'll move on to the vote.
Rick Tolz,
Yes.
Jody Donspot.
Yes.
Rachel Smith.
Yes.
Mark France.
Yes.
Lindsay Lee.
No.
Louise Easton.
Yes.
Motion passes. Mr. Craig?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the canal cleanup. So there were at least 10 of us out there that I counted. There could have been more further up canal, I don't know, but we got a lot of stuff out of there. I had my boat in there. We were concentrating on pulling the big stuff out, but there were people from shore dragging stuff out as well. So there's probably a lot of stuff along the canal bank that needs picked up. Anything big that we got a hold of, we just drug it out in the river and let it go.
Sure.
So it's out of sight, out of mind. So there's more to be done, but it's definitely passable for boats. So hopefully the docks can get put in too, because they would certainly be accessible. And we're hoping to get back out there maybe once and more before the 4th of July weekend to see if we can't work it a little more. I have one question. We ran into something big that we couldn't budge near the bridge by the park. And I don't know what it is. I'm wondering if it was something that was dropped in the canal when they were removing all the trees. And if so, would that company that did that work be obligated to come and remove it?
But you don't know what it is?
It's mostly underwater, so no, it looks like a treetop actually.
Oh.
And we had a hold of it and I couldn't budge it. So, and I didn't have any trouble getting rid of anything else, but that, whatever it is, it's big and it's, it's not in the way of navigating or anything, but it's just, it's gonna be a perfect spot for stuff to collect.
Sure.
The next time it floods and debris comes in the canal, so,
Yeah.
Actually, a stopping point.
yeah,
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Is that this part?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, where the playground equipment, yes, yep.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, I was happy to do it, and,
Thank
had a lot of people show up and that were happy to help, so.
Yeah, some of the names of those people, sorry Doug, is, so obviously Doug, Jeff and Janet, Bob, Peggy's neighbor, Angie, Mario, Ranger Becky, myself. I didn't see any other council members, I didn't see the village administrator, but I thought that your team on the boat and certainly Angie's team in the kayaks.
And Terry Green was another person that was there.
Okay,
He was on the boat with us. And I know, I walked out earlier, I know that Chad and Jeremy and a couple of the guys from the kayak shop were working earlier in the week. Might have been Tuesday, I don't know, just guessing on the day, but they spent some time out there as well removing debris.
Yep.
So it's in a lot better shape than it was.
Sure, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's a big improvement. Sheriff here, Mayor. I've only got a couple things, but I did get in contact with the engineering firm, and they're gonna give us some ideas, and some estimate of possibly working with us to help straighten up the village, as far as sidewalks, placement, walking paths, signage, many different things. I've been in contact with her since approximately the 1st of April, and we've kind of been texting back and forth and emailing, and when we were finally get together with a group of people, and it worked out well, and they're very great people, and I hope that it'll work out, that we can move forward with them or another company. I didn't lock anything with them, I can't do that myself, but it's a good start to have some help that is professional to guide us in our village. Other than that, we got a few days of hot heat here coming up, and we hope that nobody has any trouble in homes or anything like that. And, that's about it as far as I've got. That's it. Chad's
Yeah.
report.
You want me to read it?
Sure.
Chad gave you his report in the packet. He said the sidewalks are done. The question on the pool chemical invoices at the last meeting are listed for both Airgas and Northwest Pools. That's what the pool purchased. And he also wanted to thank Doug Gray and anyone else who helped clean out the canal. The plan is to put the docks in this week.
Excellent.
That'll be a hot job. Let's place yourself.
I won't be helping, I don't think. I'm gonna be putting my own down again.
Accidentally fall in.
Yeah.
Kristen.
We have 2 third readings of resolutions tonight. They can have a motion for passage after the third reading. We do have a first reading of the ordinance to request the auditor to assess lots for the lighting of streets and alleys that we have every year.
Is that number 3 or 2? 2's on our copy, but 3 is on here.
Oh, it's 2.
2? Okay.
Yep. Ordinance 2025-2.
Okay.
It's the second ordinance.
Okay.
That's the first reading.
Correct. Yep, that is the first reading for that ordinance. And then I also gave you guys, I received last week, a mobile food truck permit, the first one. And I included, so they didn't list the location, but I had emailed her back, and she sent me her certificate of liability insurance, a copy of her Wood County Health license, I guess you call it. And then I asked where they were parking, because what they said was next to their concession trailer, so I assumed that was their vehicle, not the trailer. So they are requesting a parking spot in front of Town Hall Park, so right out here, that has been reserved for the rally by the river permit. And I guess this person, I was been in contact with the lady, said they've been talking to Mike Bailey about this, so that's what I have on that.
And the application that we approved,
Oh yeah, I
We
did
didn't-
give you those copies.
right, they didn't request, like, they didn't say they were in a food truck.
Correct, I did not.
Okay. So have you heard from Mike? Is he requesting this? or-
I've only talked to,
Because
what's
Mike's-
her name, Julie?
Mike's not on the application, it's Angie and Joe.
Yes.
I've
And then
only
the
been,
other one is Kate and Angie,
I've only been in contact with the Linda Tatro.
for the food truck person.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So Louise, since this is the first one coming through, how does this information help you to decide whether,
Well, it's supposed to be part of an event permit. It's not supposed to be alone, so it should have been something that Angie, Joe, or Kate, or, should have been part of this.
I don't know that that was part of the procedure.
I believe we talked
Yes,
about
it
that
is.
several times.
Yes, it has to be
It's written
connected
as part of the procedure.
It has to be connected to an event.
Yeah, it
I
has,
don't So, I don't recall that.
Well,
So,
I think there has to be a
So-
sponsor of some sort.
Yes.
I'm reading this and I don't get any value out of this information.
Well, I think there's another page to it.
There is, this is what they submitted.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not, there's more to it than what they submitted, so.
So what it does tell us is that they have a license from the health department and that they have liability insurance.
But there's also another form that they were supposed to complete, and they did or did not complete it.
So the other form was asking them for a copy of their insurance and their license, their $25 fee, and I believe you're supposed to, you have to sign that one, maybe that's where the administrator signs on the back of that one.
And that wasn't done, or had that been done?
Right, no, that would have been the back of this paper. So I don't believe there is an area for them to complete, I could probably pull up
Okay.
our website just to double check, but.
But there definitely has to be an event that they're gonna be part of. And that's how they get into the village, because whoever's running the event lets people know, or anyone in the village, that this food truck is gonna be coming in.
I don't believe that's true because in the discussion around the food trucks, we had said, if I want to have a food truck for my niece's graduation, you still wanted a food truck permit, but I don't have to get an event permit for that, it's in my front yard. So there is a disconnect between what you're asking here and these are completely separate. These applications for events are use of public property. These are not necessarily that.
These are the forms that we approved.
So
I
am I
didn't
the only
approve
one
them.
that thinks
Well, I know,
it
you
should be
usually don't know.
sponsored?
Pardon me?
Am I the
That,
only
that's not
one?
true, that's not factually true,
Yes,
but
it is.
Am I the only one that thinks that it was tied to an event?
Well, I know that the other event permits, the people were asked, are you gonna have food trucks? And they all said no. So I don't know if this event permit, if they were asked that or not. I know for every single active water permit that came across our table, Lynn asked, are you gonna have food trucks? Do you know the process? And they all said, we're not having food trucks.
Okay,
I don't know if it was asked for this.
so where did this come from then? Do they just download it?
Yeah, it's on our website.
It's on the website.
Okay. So,
I guess I'm concerned because they said they were working with Mike Bailey,
Yeah,
and he's not on any of these event permits, so
how do you get it?
I don't understand what's going on actually,
And
honestly.
okay, so when they did the permit, okay, did they reserve a space in front here? Which is where they were going to put them,
Right.
that we approved?
yes, they had 3 to 4 spots.
Okay, front of the park, 3 or 4 spots, okay. And who?
Doesn't say for what though.
I mean, are they gonna use a generator, are they going to use electricity from somewhere, and if they are using electricity, whose electricity are they using? Would be my question.
So was this part of the last meeting, cause
No,
it indicated
No,
on the
this-
map.
I just got this.
Okay.
no.
Do they add, it says any maps provided are not drawn to scale. Did you receive a map?
When
of
we
the-
approved those, there were maps, it doesn't say food trucks or anything
Okay.
on there. The map that was actually with the one that lists the 3 or 4 spots was basically the canal back there.
I guess this kind of reminds me, and I don't remember what event it was, that we had a food truck show up, and it was, where Hawk's Bikes used to be.
Yes,
I
exactly.
believe it was the
And there
early
wasn't
days.
anything that was approved, anything on the application that even said there were gonna be food trucks. So I'm starting to get flashbacks of that event, whatever event that was.
There's one next to Huntington Bank also.
And I think that's why we started the actual process of having an application, so that,
I can actually shed a little bit of light on this if you would like. Only because, may I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, because I'm not speaking for the Arts Council, but I'm on the planning committee for the weekend. I've been helping them out with different stuff. Food trucks has not been one of my areas of responsibility, but that's where Mike Bailey comes in, because he was the one that, you know, we had a meeting and everybody was assigned various tasks, and he was supposed to coordinate that. So the reason they asked for spaces and didn't give you specific information about who would be there is because they didn't have firm commitments from anyone to show up.
They should have put on here that it was gonna be 4 food trucks.
Yes, well, I wasn't at that meeting, so I can't speak to that, I can just share with you what I know from attending the meetings.
Okay.
And we're having another meeting, this Saturday, as a matter of fact, so, again, I'm not an Arts Council member, I'm just a volunteer. If you want me to break something up in our meeting Saturday, I'd be happy to do so, if that helps.
Well, we have to act on this tonight, because we don't have another meeting before Gravel Days, unfortunately.
But yeah, again, I wasn't at the meeting, but that was my understanding, is they wanted to make sure they had the spaces, so when they did get a commit from someone, we knew where they were going to be.
Well, I
And
wish they would have said
Oh,
that
I
when
see.
they did their
It's right
application.
here, it says name of agent,
I know.
and it's blank.
And everyone, I know that everyone we've been dealing with, you know, we've told them they need to be self-contained, you know, have their own power and haul out their own trash and all that kind of stuff, which is probably part of your regulation, I assume. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So they did send a copy of their license?
Yep, I just got it today.
Oh, you just got it, okay, okay. So is the problem that this is not detailed enough? We don't have enough information just based on this?
I think this is fine. Honestly, I think the permit piece is fine because they provided everything that's required. I think the only question is on the application for the chamber, that they say they want the 3 to 4 spots, but we're not identifying what's going there. So if we have to take action, my suggestion would be that we approve it, but that they need to provide the names of the food trucks and verify that permits have been provided.
But the permits have to be approved tonight.
Then,
So I mean,
I,
you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean,
I
you've
just-
only received one, right? So I mean, she might get another one tomorrow or the next day or.
Yeah. That's my only hangup on it, is
Understand,
that we
yeah.
don't have
No, I agree.
documentation for the food trucks that they want to have here.
And they didn't say.
And it didn't specify
No.
that it was
For all I knew, it could be parking spots for other reasons, you know, people unloading or loading or, you know.
Or strictly handicapped or something.
And that's what it says, parking in front of the park.
Right.
So I don't know what we wanna do.
The council approved this event without that information, so I think that's a moot issue.
Okay.
And originally, I believe, Louise, you said you wanted these permits to show that they were licensed by the state and have the health certificates, they do that. So I would approve this. So I make a motion to approve the mobile food truck for the July 11th through 13th Rapid Rally Days.
Is that what they're requesting? Because it doesn't say anything to me.
I don't know that,
Okay,
I just, they're, what do you call it, the subject line said rally days, so.
On the email?
Yeah.
And then they've already set aside 3 or 4 spaces?
According to this.
And you already
Okay.
approved those 3 or 4 spaces back in April.
Not specifically for what though?
No, but they were approved for the Rapid Rally Days to
Right.
use,
That's correct.
undefined.
That's correct.
So I don't see why you would pause now.
Because they should have had it on their permit, because we've had issues with this before.
Well, I know the permit that gets approved, I think we have a 60-day, maybe we should do that for the food trucks, so that we get it in ample time versus last minute.
So that was 4/9, is when we did this, it was in April.
It was in April,
When we
yeah.
approved it.
Oh, the chamber, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So Lynn made a motion.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Tero's concessions.
Do you know what they serve?
This says
Oh,
right
yeah.
on.
Cottage
cones, fresh squeezed lemonade, caramel apples, popcorn, caramel corn, and cold drinks.
I hear your question, but does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Well, we had, if you remember, we had some businesses in town that came here and they were upset because they had competitive food trucks in town. So yes, it does.
Capitalism is.
Okay, I'm just asking the question, Lynn,
Okay.
because we have had some concerned businesses who are brick and mortar downtown. They don't come and go, they're here.
So we got a first and a second.
We have a motion and a second, we'll proceed with a vote.
Yeah, Jody Dunstan?
Yes, with the understanding that, this is the only one that I will approve, because it's in right
That's all we
now.
have, yeah.
One food trailer, another sales.
Correct.
Rachel Smith,
Yes.
Martha France,
Yes,
Lynn Sylvain,
Yes.
Louise Easton.
Yes, under the understanding that all rest of the event permits must list food trucks.
In ample time.
And Rick Tolles.
Yes, with more information the next time.
So let's just take issue with that.
No, we don't, we can go on to the next
So
topic.
you said that all events, the apple butter has been approved without food trucks,
We have a
but
motion
there will
and a
be
second.
food
You
trucks
said a vote.
everywhere that day.
Point of order, back to the agenda, please.
It is the agenda item, we're talking about
We've
food
already
trucks.
voted.
Already voted,
Louise,
passed.
you're creating a conflict here.
No, she's
We've
not.
already voted.
Thank you for voting and passing. I got here as soon as I could to answer any questions if needed.
Oh, you knew about the food truck?
I was watching online.
Oh, okay.
No,
Oh,
we, go ahead, I'll answer any questions you got.
We've already voted.
Okay, yeah, okay. Does the food
We're-
truck policy
no, we're-
specifically state?
we're done.
No.
We're moving on.
We're moving on to the agenda, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Communications, reports of standing committees.
Yes. We've received information from Suburban and First Energy, and I would like to have a meeting this week with the Utilities Committee, and we will decide, we'll discuss the information that's been given to us, and we'll make a recommendation to council. So I'm looking at Thursday afternoon, during the day.
I'm not available Thursday afternoon, just saying.
Okay, it's just for, I'm just asking that we have a committee meeting.
Did you have a specific time in mind, Martha, that you
Well,
would like
after
to-
2:30
Okay,
and before 6:30,
okay, all right,
and it will be here.
okay. Okay, I can make that
Okay, so shall we say 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
On what day?
Thursday is the 26th.
26.
Yes.
Who's on your committee?
Jody. And I'm pretty sure, I look at this all the time.
I know there were some changes, that's why I'm trying to pull it up to see if
Oh.
I'm on it.
Yes, yes. So it's Jody and Lynn and myself.
So Lynn, can you make that?
Yes.
Thursday, 3.
3 o'clock.
And Martha, you said it was here at the town hall?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Not under that, no.
Okay. I'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have the first reading of ordinance 2025-2, an ordinance to request the auditor to assess lots and lands of the village of Grand Rapids for the lighting of streets, alleys, ways, and other public places. We have a third reading of resolution 2025-2, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to prepare and submit a 2026 application to participate in Wood County Park Grant Program and execute contracts as required. We have resolution 2025-03, a resolution encouraging the Ohio Department of Transportation to make changes to the traffic pattern at the intersection of State Route 65 and State Route 295.
And I'd like to make a motion for passage of resolution 2025-02, resolution authorizing the village administrator to prepare and submit a 2026 application to participate in the Wood County Park Grant and execute contracts as required.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for resolution 2025-02. Proceed with a vote.
Hang on, I have a question on that. Does he have to submit that, with projects in mind in a budget, or does he just say we're participating?
No, I believe that
Each
he,
year we have to give him
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
3 different tiers that we're giving each year.
So,
And we have to say what we're applying for.
have those 3 been identified yet?
Oh.
Okay.
Not for 2026. No.
Rachel Smith,
Yes.
Martha France.
Yes.
Lynn Sylvain,
Yes.
Louise Easter,
Yes.
Rick Tolz,
Yes.
Jody Donson.
yes.
Motion passes for resolution 2025.
And I would like resolution 2025-03, the resolution encouraging the Ohio Department of Transportation to make changes to the traffic pattern at the intersection of State Route 65 and State Route 295.
A second.
So I have a question about that, or a comment about that before we go forward with the vote. It came from a resident that said an easy fix there, whether temporary or long-term, is to request that that DOT puts a subtitle under the stop sign that says cross traffic does not stop. I thought that was a really good suggestion. It does make you stop and think and pause before you go forward. So I don't know if it needs to be part of that resolution, if we can do that on our own, or how that happens, but I do want to thank the resident for that suggestion and see what the council thoughts on that are. Does it have to be part of this resolution? Does anybody know?
No, it does not.
So, okay. I'll let you finish your vote and I'll follow up on a question on that.
We'll proceed with a vote for resolution 2025-03.
Martha France,
Yes.
Lynn Sylvain,
Yes.
Louise Easter.
Yes.
Rick Tolz.
Yes.
Jody Donson.
Yes.
Rachel Smith, yes.
Motion passes for resolution 2025-03.
So the follow-up question, Louise, is how do we go about getting that cross traffic does not stop?
You could contact ODOT.
Okay, would we not want the village administrator to do that? No?
You can do that.
Do you want me to do the village administrator chores, or
You
you?
can do a council person's chores for this time.
So, okay, so to the Fowler family, thank you very much for your suggestion. Looks like I'll be doing some of Chad's work later this week.
Okay, we have any unfinished business?
I do. I would like to make a motion that we take Dora off our agenda, starting now, and however long it takes us to pass that. This has been a long time, suggestion was made a long time, and we can't seem to come up with a resolution that's gonna make everybody happy. Not only that, it's been used as a weapon more than once towards a particular council member. And I'm tired of hearing it, I don't want to go forward with it, I think we should just drop it.
Or you're saying table it or?
Table.
Table it.
So
Okay.
the council's not met on DORA, so you wanna table something without discussing it. I actually have information from all of the businesses. I went through and interviewed each one of them on benches first, and then as a follow-up, asked them if they wanted to participate in DORA.
We're talking only about DORA at this point.
And so, if you could follow along, Martha, that'd be great. But out of everybody that I talked to, only 3 of the businesses said no. I think there's a way to get those businesses to a more comfortable level, but the majority of businesses downtown do want DORA. I don't know how the residents feel about it. I think it would be a mixed bag no matter what. If we're talking about food trucks or signage on the bridge, you're not gonna have 100% agreement, but we are looking for majority. And the majority of people that I spoke to, and this is all the businesses, said yes, they support it. There's a lot of data to support to say that DORA helps communities. Our restaurants are excited about DORA. Our restaurant who was against the food trucks is excited about DORA. We have a perfect place for it, and I have it on the map here to show my recommendation for 3 spots for where we could have seating for DORA. I think it's irresponsible to table it without a discussion, and my recommendation is that we would have a meeting just on DORA, and if needed, survey the community and see if the community is interested in DORA. So no, I don't want to table it.
We have a motion on the floor for tabling DORA. Is there a second? If there's no second, then it's the lack of a second. Move forward.
I have some unfinished business. In regards to the, intersection of Route 295 and 65. As you know, I had been in contact with ODOT in regards to that, and that's why we had a resolution. I also contacted one of the engineering firms that the administrator gave me the name of, Robert Matico from CESO. He, as of today, sent a proposal to do the engineering study for that, and I forwarded it to you, to the administrator, to the fiscal officer, and also to the solicitor for review. So there's one proposal that we have in front of us, and for those that don't know, there was another accident there yesterday. So I think we need to do something.
It might be worthwhile to talk to the White House Village Administrator, because on 295, where it crosses into their, the main road, they actually went from a 2-way to a 4-way stop. They can't have any more traffic than what we do, so it'd be nice to know what they did. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's what the engineering firm would be looking at, is a 4-way stop.
I'm just saying it might be worthwhile to talk to White House to see what they did.
I can tell you that this Robert Matico from CESO was very informative, said we could call him at any time, said there's no charge for his advice. He's got a lot of engineering experience in that field, so I really...
And I think that's kind of what ODOT's expecting us
That
to
is
do.
what
They
ODOT's
want us to
expecting,
do a traffic
yes.
study
Right, that's what
Right.
they requested.
before they'll make any changes to
Right.
a state route. So I
Right.
think that's where Louise has been going with this conversation.
Fine with all of that, I'm just saying someone already went through it
That's
on the
fine.
very same road that we're talking about, who's a neighbor of ours. They might have some insight as to how difficult and how long the task takes.
Any other unfinished business?
Yes, I have several. So, we talked about benches. I did go through, I sent Crystal a copy of this map. I don't know if you got it today.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I sent it to Crystal.
Right, today?
Yes, yes.
It's kinda late, isn't it? For a meeting tonight?
Was it after 4?
So what I'd like to show is that I went through and I highlighted everywhere in green where a bench could go. There's 8 on one side, 7 on another, and everywhere that's red, there's an obstruction that would make it not feasible to have a bench there. So for those, if you think about LaRose, he's got steps that come out. Same with Angelwood, or not Angelwood Gallery, but Garden Gate, they have steps that come out. So in front of their buildings, there's a little red indication here that we can't really put a bench there. But there are 15 slots that I have indicated here, not 8 and not, as Louise had indicated, and not 20 as I originally requested. So I would like you guys to look at this. Again, I did go through and talk to all of the businesses, asked them if we should standardize on the benches. They said yes. I used Lincoln Street as the reference. They said that was fine.
You spoke to all of them?
I have a list of all of them. I'm
Okay,
missing.
Because I was in one business yesterday and they were opposed to it, very much opposed to it.
Well, what business?
I'm not gonna reveal that, but they were very
Okay.
much opposed to it.
Okay, so we have, businesses have gone and said yes, everybody said yes to standardized benches, everybody said 6 foot. They do vary on where they want the placement, and they don't want it fixed to the sidewalk, because the merchants do move the benches around, and they do clean behind them, etc. So, if you're to read the comments, 50% of them say put it against the business, 50% say put it against the curb.
Can you tell me, can you go down through the businesses that want a 6-foot bench? Can you go down through and read those?
Yeah,
Because I can tell you that I was waiting for your call, because I told you I would volunteer to help you with this. And
but I didn't need your help.
didn't get the call, so
Didn't need your help.
I enlisted Jody and her husband and Rick and his grandson, and we also did a thing. So why don't you go down through your list and we'll see if we.
Why don't you do yours?
No, that's okay, you go first.
Okay, so what we have found out is that the businesses want standardized benches. There are 3 that have custom benches, or unique 3 or 4. Pisanello's has an ice cream bench. She said she would be willing to move that somewhere. Cottage on the River has custom seating. The Honey Store has a custom-made bench, and Wildside. All of them said they would be willing to move theirs in light of standardized benches, but I wonder if we wouldn't just grandfather them in.
Could you read down through your list of the people who wanted 6-foot tables?
I have not read down through my list, no.
Could you please?
I will share it, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Not right now, but I'll share it.
Well, I think I'm gonna make a suggestion is, you should bring this to a committee and talk about it, and then bring that information back here. Not take this time to discuss all this.
I don't have a committee that I'm in charge of, or John, that committee would be producing stuff like this on a regular basis.
No, you don't have to be in charge of one, you just have to belong to one or be active in it. And that's all as a matter is a phone call to call the chairman of it, say, hey, we need a meeting. That's what you should do, and I'm sure that they'd be glad to do that. And as far as your
And
next
so
item,
Louise
you
is
should not do that
On
either.
a committee as well to do the benches.
No, I wasn't on the committee, I just took it
Okay.
amongst myself
Okay.
because
And sorry, what was your second criticism there?
I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying the way it should be done.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
you know,
And the next comment was what?
Whatever else you're talking about with the,
Dora?
area, Dora, that should be in a committee, and then brought your suggestions back.
So Rachel, I'd like to have a meeting on Dora, and I'd like to have a meeting on benches, please.
Okay.
Okay, now, John, for the record, for 3 years I've asked for a meeting on Dora,
That isn't true.
so.
That's
That
not
isn't
true.
true.
For the
The
record,
discussion of Dora started long before you were even on council,
yes.
and the only thing that we've ever run into is the park. That has
That's
always
the
been a
caveat.
hang-up,
And the tow path.
is the park.
Yeah.
Because we don't have, the deed to the park is somewhere else. And that's always been the park, is how to keep the alcohol out of the park. Actually, I think the Rally by the River, when we've had alcohol on Friday evenings, I think it's been a perfect display of what we can do with a Dora. Nobody's ever argued with you about a Dora. We've had roadblocks that you've ignored, and you've made issue.
Stop.
No, I don't, you can talk for 5 minutes, and you can bash everybody on this council, but what I'm saying to you is,
Have a meeting on Dora, Rachel.
I already have. And again,
When?
what have we discussed?
Is it set up now? Are we going to have a meeting in the next 30 days on Dora?
Okay, that's enough.
Are we?
We have any more unfinished business?
Yes, I have more. So one of the last things that Chad asked for were ideas for the grants. I have an idea for, or it's not actually my idea, it was submitted by a resident here, for a dog park, lights on the tow path, and to restore the canal. So how would you like those submitted to Chad, and in what level of detail?
So it sounds like we also have to have a buildings and parks meeting.
Well,
to discuss.
I had asked for a parks meeting so that we could get
Okay.
some things
Ideas.
together for the Parks Grant, and we're
Yes.
not behind the 8 ball.
You've heard it.
Yes.
Too.
Because as some people have been volunteering on the towpath, I've been volunteering other places, but you don't need to air it here.
It's fine. Moving on. New business, please.
No, I'm sorry, still have old business. Did we hire someone? Did we hire someone?
Yes, we did.
And who did we hire? What are his qualifications? And was there a posting, and who interviewed him?
It's a part-time.
It's a part-time job.
Okay, and the answer to the rest of the questions, did we post it?
No, we did not, we didn't have to.
And who is the individual we hired?
His name is Jake, his first name's Jake,
And do we know
his last name is Lyons.
Lyons? And who interviewed him?
Chad and myself.
And did we interview anybody else?
No,
Okay, is he a relative of anyone on the council?
no, he's not.
Okay. And, we can get a copy of his resume?
Didn't have a resume.
Did he fill out an application?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll make a public records request for his application, please. And at part-time, how many hours is he gonna work?
He might work 30, he might work 35.
So at
And-
It's
35,
for mowing, correct?
It's
35 he
seasonal.
qualifies for benefits, though,
It's
correct?
seasonal
It's
employment.
seasonal employment, just part-time,
So no benefits,
no.
okay? And what's the hourly rate we're paying?
What is that, Crystal?
15.
15, so.
Okay, cool. All right, canal cleanup, we went over, Doug made a point of there's a lot of debris on the canal that cannot be overemphasized. Crystal, you've gotta take it to your husband and get the crew down there to clean up
Could
along
you
the
please
canal.
stop referring to him? He is our village administrator.
There's a lot of debris that the next time the canal rises, it's just gonna flush all that stuff down.
I've already talked to a man to go down through there and chop it off.
So you're gonna chop it off and just let it go down the
Just
canal.
chop, just be all chopped up.
Okay.
Shredded.
The next item I have is the village is not mowing behind the new coffee shop. It is actually village property, so if you look at this map, it's this triangle right here.
I can't make that out.
Okay, well, Crystal will have a copy for you. So it was a foot tall the first time I mowed it, and it was too long the second time I mowed it, but I think Chad just doesn't realize it's village property, and maybe Dorinda was taking care of it before, but it's not, the coffee shop does not own that, so, village needs to take care of that. I had asked that, we put a TV in this room so that the, participants can see what we're displaying. Would help a lot when we're doing things like this, so that the residents can actually see what we're talking about. So, how does the council feel about putting a TV in here so that our notes become less paper and more electronic?
Well, I do have a comment about that, is it, irregardless of whether we have a TV or not, if we're not given the information in a timely fashion for the things, then that defeats the purpose.
Can we get a TV in this room, Jody, so that we can share documents or information with the people that are in the audience and with the people that are online?
Actually,
Yes or no?
I'm thinking about taking this wall and making a bigger one, so maybe after that we can really address how to fix the room up a little better for more
A
occupants.
TV is $500. Is there any reason we can't go forward with a TV so that we can display information for the people that are coming all the time?
Let's have a comprehensive plan first.
Yeah,
Yeah. Comprehensive plan, okay. That
So
would
when
go
you
on
remove-
buildings and parks, I guess, on our agenda for a TV, please.
So when you remove the wall, the structure's going to have to be brand new wiring. And for the internet connection, it might play into that as well.
correct.
So, yeah, I don't think we need to discuss that tonight.
Dog park we talked about, cross traffic we talked about, there was a community dinner in May, we didn't recognize it, I do wanna say it was really well attended, I didn't see any council people there, but it was a nice event for the community. And then Rapid Rally Days is coming up July 11th, 12th, and 13th. Again, community-based event. Hope to see people participate in that.
Well, they have to invite everybody in the community. If you're gonna have a community event, you have to invite everybody. I can tell you of at least a dozen people that I know of that did not get an invite to that. And I was one of them.
And what are you talking about? What dinner?
Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about.
There was a community dinner at the old fire station
For?
in May.
Oh, in May?
Yeah,
I didn't see anything about it.
No,
it was on Facebook, so.
I'm not on
I'm not on
Facebook.
social media.
And I'm blocked on all that, so.
Yeah, I
So,
don't,
I guess, if we don't know about it, we can't attend.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the last thing is council intention. So Rachel parks against an ordinance on a daily basis. Is the council gonna do anything to change that? Change the ordinance,
To make a note.
have Rachel move her vehicle, anything?
wait, what are we talking about?
Rachel's parking illegally by her house.
I'm parking in the right of way, just like half of this village. And just so you know, I actually talked to the previous resident that lived there before I did. That asphalt has been there since long before he owned the house. That asphalt is 30+ years old.
Mr. Kroll.
Yes, when he owned a funeral home.
All
I am parking in the right of way, just like half of this village.
Except the ordinance actually calls out between Front Street and Second Street.
I think that was intended for where the coffee shop and the
Let's
bank
move on
was.
to the next
Thank
one.
you.
Okay, so we're
All
not
right,
going to address
I-
Rachel illegal parking. Are we going to address Kevin Ullman using the alley for his personal use?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I'll make a motion
So
to adjourn.
no
This is
council,
not
We have a
productive.
motion and a second.
okay, so the council is not interested in enforcing ordinances
Can we take a vote, please?
that displease them.
Bert Coles,
Yes.
Jody Donson,
Yes.
Rachel Smith,
Yes,
Lawrence Sylvain,
No,
Mike
we're
Crane.
not
Yes.
talking about this.
no, we
Yes.
are.
Lynn,
Please
by
stop
the
the
way,
video.
we can change the zoning on your house next to the town hall here, then, so you can have people live there, because it's commercial zoning.
John, just stop. This is